be there in a sec.
Yeah. Let me refresh this real quick.
I see the live.
You see the live here? Turn this damn volume down.
I was like, what is that noise?
Yeah, it's my laptop. All right. All right, let's get this party started. So, everybody, welcome to episode 6 of What the Hell You Got Going On. We'll be here, we discuss 3800, LS4 talk, W body talk. Pretty much just have a good old time. So make sure you grab your snacks, relax, kick back, and enjoy the bullshit me and Dave about to talk. Oh boy. So we got a lot to catch up on. What's going on hole in the head garage?
There he is.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna discuss I want to talk about my experience with different power adders, how I feel about the difference between the Navier and the new turbo setup. Importance of maintenance care, and what you got going on, Dave? What you want to talk about?
I'll let people know what I've been doing since I don't post much footage of what my car has going on. So we'll kind of dip into what I've been messing with my car and some other guys around town that we got.
All right. Well, let's jump off. Let's talk about what the hell we had going on, because it's been a while, and I'm pretty sure people want to know what the hell we had going on. So you can go ahead and go first, Dave, and I'll come off of you.
Oh, you're gonna save the spicy stuff for your. Okay. So Bad Grandpa, my Statuma kit, Turbo Regal with heads cam, everything like that. I was trying to get it ready to go to the track. We have a local 8th mile track here in Omaha, and I was running it last year at the Ice Cream Cruise, this event. My favorite hat until the next time I get a new hat. 20 PSI, I was running bottom 7s, trying to get into the 6s in the 8th mile. So that was after I got to E85 with those 1300 cc injectors, whatever you sent to me. Beachworks 400 pump and AN8 lines that I swapped to recently. Tried to go back to the track last week and wanted to turn it up and get my 60-foot better and better. Basically failed at both of those. Couldn't turn it up because I ran out of wastegate spring. So the kit that I sent you with that Z7 kit, that wastegate actually had more spring than the one that my Statuma tile wastegate had. So turned out I couldn't go past 20 PSI. Not a big deal, good problem to have. You just got to spend $9 on some more wastegate springs. So I did that. And my 60 foots, I'm still working on. Like 1/8 is kind of where I've been stuck. I had a 1.7 last year on my PV pass, but I also got a click style manual controller until I finally do what I should do and spend the big money on a electronic boost controller setup, because that's where you got to go when you're really pushing hard. But I'm just kind of trying to spend money wherever. None of us are rich in this part of the game, so you gotta just budget out and spend in different ways. So put that new wastegate spring setup in there, and it was like a 14 pound spring setup, so I could go to at least double that now. And set up the new controller and took it out. It started ripping. It was still going to 20 plus PSI, which I was not expecting. I was trying to get it to start off at like 14, 15, but instantly blew a head gasket after like 3 rips. So that's a part right now to get cleaned up and reassembled. Not a big deal. It happens when you get past 20 PSI. James, if he ever hops in here, will talk about the torque specs. Like he's giving me numbers that are a little bit higher than when I torqued the ARP studs to last time on my MLS gaskets. So we'll do that. And then I'm thinking about swapping back to the L26 upper intake like Terrell's got on his with the HV3 insert. I've got that really nice Holden intake. I might stick with that until later on. And I was thinking about going to the really big heads that I had in the box, but I would have to do a lot of valve train geometry to swap to that. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go from the 67 mil T4 turbo that is the standard Stadma turbo to a 72 mil T4 with the same 68 AR, which is kind of how fast the hot side spools up. Keeping that about the same, but just a bigger compressor. So hopefully it's not going to have to work as hard and be a little more efficient. And then I might route the intake pipe to the passenger side, coming across over a race battery, so I have some room behind the passenger headlight. But big thing is I'm putting in for the Ice Cream Cruise, the 1320 video event out here. There's a front wheel drive invite only race, so I'm hoping that they'll give me word I can sign up for that. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go and attend and see what they got. But probably be outgunned by a couple of like 1,000 wheel horse Hondas with my 600 or whatever horse I can show up with. But it'll be fun just to show up and represent 3800 world for a little while. Maybe if I can make a round or two or get lucky. And some of those guys, a lot of them are manuals, so you never know. Terrell knows about that manual life.
Yeah. Somebody, Tony Danza asked, what did you do to the transmission?
For Bad Grandpa, it's got all the best stuff you could get a hold of back in 2008, 2009. So GM Racing 1-inch chain sprocket set, Ray Bestis Stage 2 blue plate special clutches, the hardened pump shaft, which you can still get a hold of, 300M Intense Racing, but you can still get them from ZZP input shaft, GM Racing Torsen differential, just a lot of TLC put into the rebuild back in 09, and it's been running solid ever since, running on deck 6 with a separate cooler. I put the aluminum pan on it recently, 3500 stall converter, and it just don't beat on it unless I actually have to. So I do not get on it in first gear ever. Second gear still lights the tires all the way up to highway speeds. So really only 2 to 3 shifts are the only things it sees a little bit harder on. And then I save the 1-2 shift for when I'm putting the slicks on it and going to the track.
Yeah, he just said that's good. It can handle that. It'll last. It's just it's all on how you drive it. The transmission will last so as long as you abuse it.
I have no illusions that it could someday have a problem. But that's also why I just I drove on a stock trans with my my XP cam build that was a mid 12 setup for a while. And I just until I got silly messing around with a buddy racing and did a 1-2 shift while spinning and snapped the input shaft. Otherwise that thing lasted for probably 5 years of just daily abuse, and I just was super careful until one time I screwed up. So you can get away with like what's available right now on the market, GXP chains and input shaft and some basics throughout the trans and a rebuild, and it'll carry you for a while. It's when you're pushing to try and go even above average, 500, 600 plus, that you're really gonna just hit the limit of what's available.
Hole in the Head Garage, that's aka Jason Stewart. He it looks like he was doing what you was talking about. He said he's going to be running a Pulsar 6862 liquid cooled turbo T3 AR 83,000 hot side and a 75,000 AR cold side. That's wow.
It'll get there. I mean, it's not an aggressive AR as far as how fast it's going to spool, but as long as everything's set up to kind of handle it, that's not too big of that's a pretty moderate sized turbo, and he should be doing good with that. Got the water coolant in the center section there. I had that on my 67. My 72 doesn't have the water cooling, just the wastegate will still have water cooling. There's your boy Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy in the building. Philip the Third. Everybody, welcome aboard. So let me see what I had going on. I had a lot going on. Got the turbo build done. We started out at 8, 9 pounds, and was getting a feel to see how the car was going to do and stuff like that, and it was going pretty good. But then once I turned it to 12 pounds, is when all this stuff started. Like I just had a multiple misfire, and I go over it with Dave and Daniel Smuts. Like, we got this going on and stuff like that, and Ed Labarge too. He was a big help, and we all pretty much was like, okay, so the source of the problem is got to be what's already done to the car. So don't go throw the, how Dave say, the parts cannon at it. Diagnose one set at a time. So long story short, ended up being the spark plug wires. Before that, the spark plugs. The spark plugs was gapped originally at 23 thousandths. Gapped it down to 18 thousandths because of the compression is 10-1. So it's got to be pretty tight. That took care of the multiple misfire, but I still had a misfire in cylinder 4, which ended up being the spark plug wires, and that woke it up after that. So then we turned it to 15 pounds, and then we knew where we was going at this point. So then we massaged the curve. We slowly went to 18, then went to 20, and now it's just an absolute savage. We have plans to take it to. Me and Dave got plans to take our cars to the moon. Um, we don't really want to talk about how many pounds of boost we're going to do. It's just we just need the data to know what we need to go as far as make improvements on what we got going on, and things are looking pretty good. Right now, where the car is right now, it's at a good spot. I'm gonna leave it there until I get some stuff done with the transmission to make improvements for torque, and then we'll turn it up. But now we're going to take it to the rollers, get our data. We'll know where the car is at, and then we can make improvements down the road to make it better. Then we can get it to the track, which I have plans for that. I got to get a cage welder for the CV axle, so if it breaks from a launch, it won't slap the block and put a hole in it.
Yeah.
And we'll put a tire on it. And then I'm shooting for. I would like to get that car in the 10s and the manual. I think that's pretty savage for that front wheel drive 10 second car. That's my goal at least. Let's see what I can do. But I mean, now me and Dave's just trying to get our data for our vehicles, and yeah, it's running pretty good. And that's all I got to say about that. As far as how I feel about the difference between the Navi setup and the turbo setup is completely destroying that car. I felt that my Navi car was fast, and then I got this set up, and I got humbled. Me and Dave was actually going to run them uh, after I had the Navi set up fully dialed, and if we would have, I would have got embarrassed. He would have got me bad because I mean I've seen BG in action, and that car is fast. And not saying that Hellboy wasn't fast before with the Navi setup, but it's got nothing on this new setup. This new setup is just, and the fact
Yeah.
that it's not even on the Statima kit right now. It's on a Z7 kit. It's just, and it's doing this. It's just remarkable. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, everybody's seen, or not, if you haven't seen Richard Holdner's dyno videos, he was astounded at how these things wake up with a turbo. Like,
oh yeah,
double, triple stock horsepower, 1 bar, 14, 15 pounds of boost, and you're hitting 600 crank on just like an NIC cam or whatever. You didn't even have like an aggressive cam because NICs bleed off anyway. So, these things are meant, they're really meant to have a turbo on them. Obviously supercharged, you can have your fun, and they kind of have a ceiling. We found somewhere around 400-ish wheel is kind of the ceiling for an M90 setup. You can push real hard and get a little above that,
yeah,
but for the most part, like consumer grade parts, you're gonna kind of be like capped right around the 400 or just over. But with the turbo, immediately at that level and just turning it up from there, especially if you got a cam and you start optimizing things on ethanol and going real hard.
Yeah, I really learned a lot from the pill machine. Shout out to that car. I still got the block to that car. I think I'm not getting rid of that block. I'm gonna one of these times I'm gonna do a video on it, break down it, and show you guys exactly what happened. We're gonna turn the block underneath so you can see everything that's going on, but I'm gonna turn that block into a table because that block actually it's because of that engine I learned a lot about doing a turbo setup. So that's a landmark for me. I'm gonna keep and I'm pretty proud of that. What's the name? Gator Stowe. He asked what transmissions we're running. I got a F23 5-speed out of 2002 Cavalier Sunfire, and Dave he's got a built 4T65E. Stupid built.
It's just shy of how much you can ever build them, even back in the day.
Yep.
4T80s, I want to see more and more people come out running them. Like there's a handful of folks, but I want to see people posting videos of how much they're beating on them and how many miles they got on them. Kind of see how they can do, because if you're putting them in stock form, yeah, they're probably able to take like 400 or 500. I don't know what they're going to take, but I want to see if people are leaning on them with like fully T4 turbo builds and Whipples, or stuff that was just making 4T65s cry.
Yeah.
I want to see if they can take a full stock weight W body at 35 plus 100 pounds and still survive, or if we need to lean on the aftermarket, like input shafts or whatever else becomes their weak point, because we need them before those things start disappearing, right? We already see stuff disappearing from the junkyards. W bodies are getting there still, and they're in there in numbers, but they're also getting in worse condition. So the same thing is going to happen with the North Star cars that have the 4T80s. So if we're going to have that as our backup option as a built trans, I would like to see people actually going for it, but the market's very small, so it's hard to get anything coming out of it unless it's the one big vendor really that's helping us out still.
I wanted to say too, like I didn't at first I was in like, should I swap my cam out and stuff like that, and I'm still running the IS4 turbo cam, or not turbo cam, the IS4 blower cam, and that build is just remarkable. I mean, it's I can't even stress how crazy that cam feels. It's just, I don't know if this is because
turbo cam.
I mean, pretty much, but I wonder if it's performing a lot different though, just because it doesn't have a torque converter behind it. You know what I mean? Like I'm wondering if that's the reason. I don't know. It just, I don't know. It feels great. I don't. Yeah, that build does low. It loves boost.
I mean, you see it when I look up LS cams, like they talk about, oh, you got to get this converter with a higher and higher stall.
Yep.
Or if you're running manual, it's just a matter of what you're doing with your clutch, really.
Yep. Let's talk about maintenance. Like, everybody, it's a lot of people that want to do, crazy builds and stuff like that. But when you get builds to the caliber where we're at, it takes a lot of maintenance. It's like you gotta, like, every time you take the car out, you do like 5 or 6 pulls or whatever. The next day you want to jack the car up, go underneath of it. You want to check and see if anything's loose, because stuff like that is, especially in W bodies, something's bound to happen. So you always got to be one step of the curve. Just go over everything, do a once over, make sure everything is cool, check all your fluids, and then when you go out and do a rip, you ain't got to worry about it because you went through everything before you brought it back out. It's all part of the game. So, like, if you're not really mechanically inclined to do it yourself, I would not recommend doing an extravagant build because you're gonna go broke badly. This takes a lot of hands-on. Just like
you can't pay somebody to do this. You can't.
No,
because That's why I own Bad Grandpa, is because I built it for a guy who didn't work on it. He knew the basics, but he wanted to just send out the money and have a car in his hands at the level of a, at the time, mid 11-second car. For a W body, that's pushing the limits. Like when we talk high horsepower, like Hole in the Head mentioned, it's relative, right? For a
Hmm.
3800, above 400 is basically high horsepower,
Yep.
and that's what we're talking about, where you're leaning on it enough that the chassis isn't meant to survive that. So you got to we call it nut and bolting when we're going out doing race car stuff. We'll do qualifying, and then we'll come back in after time trials and go over we'll just grab a pile of wrenches that we know all the sizes are. So for these cars, it would be a 10, a 13, and a 15, and 18, and you would just go all over the car, snugging everything, making sure nothing came loose. You check all your fuel lines and everything like that. We all got AN lines on our stuff at this level. Making sure all those fittings are good, nothing's leaking. All your oil line feed for your turbo, all your couplers on your charge
Yeah.
pipes, like just making sure your wiring harnesses aren't melting up against something because they moved or a zip tie came loose.
Yep.
Like just
And
all the dumb stuff.
it's at the level too where you can't take them to shops anymore, because if you take a car that's highly modified like that, you don't know Joe from Schmo, and you take it to a shop and like, yeah, I want to get this fixed. Nobody's gonna want to touch it. So
Yeah,
you get
there's two or three types of interactions you could have. You could either get just immediately turned away, which is probably going to be majority. They're going to be like, what the hell do you got here? I don't want to touch it because I don't want to be liable. And that's the shop. They got insurance and stuff they got to deal with,
yep,
and they don't want your hack job. Even if it's built nice, they don't know. They don't know, and we don't know, honestly. Like we're doing modifications that only have a couple hundred or maybe a couple thousand out there versus the millions of 3800s and W bodies that are just standard. So
yep,
it's once you touch it, I think we talked about this before. It's yours.
yep,
The other thing a shop could say is, all right, we'll do it, but it's going to cost you thousands, right? And that could be for some basic work. They could charge you out the wazoo because they're gonna have to take a bunch of time to figure out what's going on, especially if you gotta have them dig into the engine. And it's not just like, hey, slap together some exhaust for me so you can finish out my header install or something. But you're like, oh, my dual roller Rollmaster timing chain from Australia is being weird or something. Can you diagnose this issue? They're gonna be like, what are those words? And give me money, right?
yep,
So or or the other thing is you could have some Yahoo that's just overly confident and just wants your business, and he's just gonna jump right in and go berserker because he's just gonna assume, oh, I worked on 47 small block Chevy builds and all these LSs and all these cookie cutter builds that there's information and parts right in the Jegs catalog for him to grab hold of or call up Texas Speed or Brian Tooley. You don't have that here. If he doesn't know that it's either ZZP or some ancient intense or other vendor stuff and these other one-off companies that we got parts from, he's just gonna either get in there, just do some hackery, and then it may or may not come out good on the backside. Or if he's taking
yep,
his time and like doing all this research, it's gonna take him tons of time. It's gonna cost you tons of money. Like this is a DIY world. I've told that to the guys that I've been helping out lately. I'm like, you've got to be self-sufficient in this stuff, and that's why I try to like keep them involved as much as possible because especially me, I'm moving around the country and I can't stay in one spot for more than a couple of years. I need them to be able to self-sustain.
yep, yep. This whole experience it's been a learning curve, and I mean, it's a good experience, especially when you get hands on and you figure things out on your own. You feel a lot more,
Yeah,
uh, how would you say, accomplished. I want to say,
independent, accomplished, satisfied.
yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
that's why I've been able to even help people that work with random cars and even help myself with like my F-150 EcoBoost, right? Now they have a
mm-hmm,
bad rep until I looked into it. They're great. Like you do the timing set, which is a project, but there's a guy on YouTube, Ford Tech Make You Loco, that does all the Ford truck work and walks you through it all. And I saved thousands of dollars by doing it myself. And now I do all the maintenance on that thing. There'd be basically this much that I would actually take my car to somebody else to do, and it would be very limited. And I would just give them a tiny lane, whether it's even an alignment. I can do a garage floor alignment on my cars. I got toe plates with the dual tape measure set up and
Yep.
everything, and there's no reason for me with as many tools as I've got for what I'm doing on W bodies to not translate that across everything in my driveway, which we'll get into what's in my driveway right now a little bit in a little while.
Yep. Gator said he said nobody really messes with the Sabres too much. He's had fabricated most of the parts like motor mounts and other things. Yeah, I mean it's pretty much almost all W 3800 W body cars, LS4 cars at this point. Anything you want to do, we pretty much got to fabricate everything because there's not a lot of parts available for us anymore because we only have like maybe one or two vendors at this point, which sucks. But I mean, it makes it even more exciting too because it's more of a challenge to get up to that ladder. And
Yeah.
it's like once you get up there, it's just like damn, I can't believe I did it. It's great. Um, I also want to say that I pushed not going turbo and staying Navi just because I was told I wouldn't be able to take it past 489, and I did. It was pretty much I guess you could say it was an ego. Why I kept pushing with the Navi, but at the end, I came to my senses. It's like, okay, you're just going to keep breaking stuff at this point. You're maxing the kit out, and you got a whole turbo set up here. Just use that and then move on. So, which I think it was it was the best decision. It was. Shout out to Dave because that turbo kit was actually Dave's off of BG. Um, so I told him when I bought the kit, I was like, I'm gonna finish where you left off at with it. We're gonna push it to we can't, and then if we need to go further, me and Dave got some other tricks up our sleeve. So
Yeah.
so
I mean, I think you're already probably past where I had it as far as power wise, because
I
I was at
I don't I don't want to say what or anything yet.
I don't have
Just
numbers. Like, I don't have numbers or anything. I just know
hmm
what set I had it at 18, 19 psi when I ran my personal best with it back in the video that I had 15 years ago when I was running that setup, and I had a smaller cam, less compression on race gas versus E85. Like, I think where you're taking it is already going to be, you know, stronger, and you should be able to, hopefully once you get the running that thing at the track, which is going to be we talked about it, it's going to be a learning curve because
hmm
manuals, like you see it with even the rear wheel drive guys, they're not easy to get down the track, and
nah.
we're going to have to watch what the Honda guys do with their manual racing is kind of the closest
It's
parallel.
it's a learning curve, and it's cool. I got you and James and a couple more other my buddies on my side to walk me through the paces of getting to that point. So um, we can get there. I think we're
Yeah,
taking the right direction with everything. It's definitely something you don't want to rush because if you do, you will destroy everything you got. So I
yeah.
mean, you gotta have patience when it comes to stuff like this. You can't rush it. You cannot. I mean, as far as tuning the car, hell, what I think I got like almost about over 30 hours of tuning with
Probably.
Hellboy
Yeah.
and Dave. You got if not just as much, if not more, with BG. I mean, it's always some improvements you can do. I learned a lot from him, uh, Dave, or not that. I just said him. I learned a lot from him, Smuts, uh, James Brewer. He actually taught me a little bit of stuff too, and I appreciate everybody that gave me some knowledge to help improve my car, man. And it's what it's all about. Like,
It's
just
a
help each
it's
other
a
out. Like,
it's a hobby. It's not, unless you're like a actual guy trying to make money off this stuff. Like, there's no reason not to try to, crowdsource, share the info as much as you can.
Yeah.
You keep your little competitive edge here, there, whatever. Because, but that's in the moment. Once that moment of like, hey, I'm trying to get to, this milestone before the next guy. Whoever hits that milestone, cool. Now let's get everybody there while we push to the next level. That was what it was like in the early 2000s with W bodies. Like they were getting to the 12s, and they were getting to the 11s, then the 10s, then the 9s, then the 8s. Like every time they would kind of keep their hood closed, when they'd show up to events or something. And then once they were the one that could claim they were the first to that milestone, the hood's open. Oh yeah, I got this size turbo or this size, brake rotor or whatever little, doodad they're using. Like at that point, it's about making sure everybody knows so that we can improve the market and keep everybody interested. Like if people aren't seeing progress with their builds, they're going to go to something else. We've seen, and I can use that as my jump off point to talk about my new purchase. Like, so last weekend I drove out to Iowa, picked up a race car, quote unquote, depending on how your definition of race car is. I know James says it's got to have a tube frame, but that's his opinion. Basically, it's Tim King. If you ever knew who he was from the old Intense heyday, '04 time frame, 04, 5, 6. He built basically the fastest Daytona, 98 Daytona 3800 car, Grand Prix. And I had one at the time. So he was kind of my, he was kind of my hero because I had a 98 Daytona in college. And so I always was like, man, that's like the ultimate 98 Daytona, that blue pace car edition. And it came up for sale. Terrell, did you send that to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. If I spent money, it was probably your fault. So I picked that thing up last weekend. A buddy of mine came with me. We just hooked up a trailer to the truck and drove 4 hours over to Iowa. Picked it up from a dude who had it for 7, 8 years, but I don't think he did too much with it. He said he bought it. He took it for a rip. The 4T65 in it broke. I don't know what the deal was with that transmission. It was probably slapped together, and it wasn't the original one with that car because I think the drivetrain was sold out from it. And he was trying to do a manual swap in it, which I'm immediately taking that out. So Getrag 284, I think, set up in it with this old steel cradle. So if anybody's interested in that, you'll see it for sale from me or Terrell.
It's
Terrell's
already sold.
already got a buyer.
Yeah, it's already sold.
All of it. It'll probably be this winter. I'm going to dismantle that whole car. It's got a beautiful cage. Like, I don't know if Tim or whoever built that cage, but the cage is in great condition. It's got, the whole car is gutted for the most part. It still has the door panels and the side panels, and the dash is kind of stripped out, and I'm just going to put the panel back on it so that it at least, looks decent. When you pop your head in the side, you can see like the Kirky. I'll probably put dual race seats in it, try and go to a drag and drive setup at some point. But I'm going to put basically Bad Grandpa's setup plus like go harder even than that. So right now I've been holding back on how crazy I get with the Buick because it's a comfortable car and it's not really the car I ever wanted to get rowdy with. It's a nice looking car, right? My buddy did a good job putting those wheels on it that just gave it a good stance, and from there I just kind of left it as is. But now I have a car where I can go all out. The weight reduction is already 90% done. It actually had attachment points for a wheelie bar. I'll probably put something back together for that again, although I'm going to make sure it has bumpers in it. The nose actually pops right off and back on, which is awesome. That's some race car stuff for you right there. It was like a couple clips. So I'm going to put a couple support braces for that. The core support for the radiator is just an aluminum bracket. So it's going to have just very, very deliberate stuff. I'm going to try and do a really clean job when I go through and wire up the engine harness to really minimize what's there. If you've ever seen like Matt Meekoff's race car, I'm probably not going to get even close to that level, but it's going to be something that hopefully, looks good and runs really strong. And I'll have even less concern if something like what happened this week where I blow a head gasket and just shrug it off because whatever, it's a car that I'm just tinkering with. So I got it for pretty cheap. It came with some extra stuff that I will probably be selling. So that'll pretty much give me, half the cost of the car back right off the rip. Extra sets of tail lights, extra A-pillar pods, just random pieces and parts. The engine came with like an ST5 cam, which I already have one. Came with another Statema kit. It came with the Statema upper intake manifold that goes on the L67. If you know what that is, the passenger side inlet for the L67 limb. I don't know if anybody is really looking for those, but I mean, I'll put them all up for sale here in near probably the next 6 months' time, because that thing is going to be fun. That'll carry me for the next 5+ years of enjoying things. And then Bad Grandpa will just kind of sit in a less, leaned on state. So hopefully I can just enjoy it for years and years, just driving it to work and ripping around on the weekends. And this other car can be the one that I go as hard as I can with.
Yeah, I originally was just gonna. I was originally just gonna keep Hellboy. I was gonna just keep that as like a Sunday driver, take it to some shows and stuff like that. But I don't really do the car show stuff no more. And I didn't built this motor crazy, so it's like I'm going all in now. So
Club send it.
Yeah, I'm sending it. I just don't want to. I don't want to put a roll cage. If I got to put a roll cage, that's where I'm probably going to stop. I don't want to put a roll cage in that car because then I won't be able to drive it at all.
Yeah,
I won't be able to fit in it. So,
I mean,
see the wife, she said no, he wasn't going to let Hellboy be a Sunday ride. Yeah, she right. I mean, her car is pretty much the Sunday ride now. I mean, we rarely. I mean, she got a lot of health issues going on, but we rarely take Sindel out. Like, I probably drive it more than she does, but we take it out every once in a while. We'll run it, which is like that's the beauty of stuff. Like when you build like multiple cars and stuff like that, man, you just got options, and it's just like, what mood am I in today? What do I feel like driving today? it's a beautiful
what noises
feeling,
do I
man.
want to hear?
Yeah. Oh, so let's talk about that. Power Riders. So, man, I'll say my experiences, and you talk about your experiences. My experiences with a highly modified M90 car, which I had quite a few of them. They're more reliable than anything. You can if you build them right, you can religiously beat the dog shit out the car and just have a blast with them. Like, and then it makes all the right noises too. Like nothing tops a party pulley M90 car. That whine is just impeccable, and the torque is stupid. The Navi car makes all the cool noises, the whoosh, just all types of noises. It sounds so good. The only thing I didn't like about the Navi build, made it with a manual car, was every time you shift, you lose a tremendous amount of boost because RPM drop. Now, if it was like ZZP said, like if you got a automatic transmission with a high stall, it's perfect. It's perfect, but it's not ideal with a manual car. It's not.
Yeah.
But I mean, I made the best out of it though. Yeah, all right. But turbo is damn. Turbo is just damn. I'm I told the wife I'm literally scared to drive that car. Like it scares me. And
That's healthy.
I mean it's scaring me because I'm not used to it. You know, it's a whole new car for me. So it's like once I get comfortable, then I'll be more confident and not being so scared of it. So if you're not scared of your car, you're not doing something right. So and that's a good thing to be scared of your car because you respect the power and you respect to not do
Yeah.
some stupid shit that'll kill you. And
Listen to your brain.
yeah, yeah,
Like
and
if it feels a little rowdy, you let out and
yep,
just work your way up to it.
yeah. You got nothing to prove to nobody. You got nothing to prove that you're the biggest man on campus. Like just be smart. Like these past couple weeks, I've been posting a lot of stuff about my car because I wanted to show people the paces you got to go through of making power and stuff like that, and how this doesn't come easy and it takes time. And I got so many people talking so much crap, and you got to just not just let them talk because you ain't got nothing to prove to them at all. And
Yeah.
one guy this morning, he put a comment saying because I said I was done, and he was like, "You're not done because you didn't post your 0 to 60 or quarter mile times, yada 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 yada." I'm like, I'm done when I say I'm done, not when you say I'm done.
Yeah. Is he
And
paying for it?
yeah, like, and he was like, "Well, I'm not sticking around for his clown show. I'm moving on." And I'm like, "Okay, well, bye."
Yeah.
I'm not
Like
losing sleep because of that. Like,
nobody online is entitled to whatever you want to show them. Like if you want to show them, just the basics, then do that. If you want to, not post a video for 2 years, then that's how I play it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
care.
yeah,
I
like,
don't care what people say on the internet. Like if they, I posted one comment like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and you know, dude pops in there and he's like, "Ah, what do you know about this and that and the, these files and the tuning?" I'm like, "Okay, you won the internet fight. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, have fun." Like nobody was even arguing nothing. I was just telling a dude to, make sure his sensors are working right, and you had to turn it
yeah,
into
man.
a, I know more about the computer than you. I'm like, oh, okay, you and all your internet points
Congratulations.
can cash them in at Walmart. I don't know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
So they they can have the internet. I'll have fun out in my garage and out at the racetrack and cruising around on the street and BSing with buddies that actually just want to. And half the talk we talk about is like about enjoying where we're thinking about taking these things, and
yeah,
we'll talk about 20 different pathways and we'll take one or two of them.
yeah,
Because you know it's the same reason people buy a lotto ticket. Half the time it's just fun to talk about what you'd do if you won. You're probably not going to win, but you're like, oh, there's that one in a gajillion chance. So
yeah,
it's more about you just bought yourself the fun to think about it for 2, 3 days until the drawing, right?
yeah. But just keep on. You got if you ain't got nobody talking about you, then you ain't doing something right.
There's
Just
that
keep on
quote,
trucking.
yeah,
Just keep on trucking,
yeah.
keep moving. Like
Uh,
when everybody was calling Hellboy slow in the begin with, like I mean, this guy kept pushing. Now I put the one video, ain't nobody saying shit. I'm like John Travolta. The hell
yeah,
everybody got.
just crickets,
But
right? Just
yeah,
crickets.
man, it's crickets, man. But I mean, it's the beauty of it, man. It's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
What
I
else you
mean,
want to talk? What else you want to
so
squeeze in here, Dave?
I do want to. We did bring up back in. We didn't talk for like 2 months on the chat anyway. Um,
Yeah.
we did talk about that like budget build competition, whatever.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and we we said we were going to come up, and I got to be honest, we got busy on our cars, and we ain't thought about that more than
yeah,
10 seconds since
yeah,
then, because it's the season, right? So it's the
yeah.
season to get
That
out with your car.
we apologize again of not having the consistency with the what the hell you got going on podcast. I mean, we got literally a lot going on trying to get our cars done. Dave had his car, and then a couple of his buddies' cars he was doing. I mean, both of our place was full, and then I had a family vacation, which, by the way, I want to talk about that too. I went to Florida,
Oh yeah,
and I honestly see why. Like I'll use Cletus for example. He doesn't put like a lot of like car content out right now because it is extremely excruciatingly hot down there. I mean, it was like 110 down there. The humidity was so hot to where like you feel like you open the oven when you open the
Yeah.
door. It's just unbearably hot. I wouldn't if Hellboy was down there. I wouldn't even start it. I would not even start it. It's too
Yeah,
much.
it's
Too much.
the humidity down there. You know, I lived down there for 7 years, and yeah, you walk outside and you just get smacked in the face with the air because
Oh,
you just go air conditioned place to air conditioned place. You're either your car or your work or your home or whatever.
yep.
Because yeah, the summer is not like unless you're just straight up going to the beach where you're like, okay, I'm going to deal with the heat today. The rest of it's like, nope.
No, not for me. Not for me. But yeah,
Gator.
we'll figure out the car challenge though. Man, that's going to be sick. Me and Dave got to talk about how everything's going to pan out, what's the budget and stuff like that, man. But that's going to be sick. But we do know
Yeah,
for sure it's 2 people per team. Um, and it's got to be on stock transmissions. The only thing you're allowed to have is a transgo shift kit and a transcooler. That's it. And it's got to be a 12-second car. Within was it 3,500? We
uh,
talked about that.
I was trying to make it even more budget than that, like and make it quite challenging. But I would like to. I want to me and you sit down, kind of map out what we would buy, and then figure out what normal people that don't have it all in their garage already. Because I've got like 4 or 5 cars worth of build parts in my
Yeah,
garage that I could slap together. But I don't want to do that. I want to
yeah.
do what you guys have been, or what the guys around the world have been doing because they did it in Australia and they've done it in various forms elsewhere. So, um, yeah.
Oh,
So,
Gator, Gator was like, "What's your thoughts on the North Star 4.6 with the 80 swap and the LeSabre?" I can't give you any thoughts about it because I never did 80 swap. I don't
I
know.
mean, it's just trying to put a setup that already comes in another car on the same chassis into a more basic car. I mean, you're going to end up doing a boatload of wiring. It's all just to have the same drivetrain in a different skin. Welcome to the South.
Oh, that's my boy, man. Jeremy something else. Well, I'm tightened up,
yeah,
man. It's hot.
but honestly, like you might want to just not like. There's so many people that have gotten LeSabre. There's so many grandmas that died in the last 5-10 years that just LeSabres have been swamping the market. Um, and people think now that they got their hands on them, they want to do something that's going to cost 5-10 times more than what they got a hold of the car for. And I hate to tell you, but it's probably not worth it, and it's not worth the headache. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. That's the case with a lot of car projects. You really gotta if if you're dedicated to just like this is exactly what I want to do, then go for it. Don't let anybody tell you not to. It's just a matter of you need to uh, you need to be able to like we were talking about earlier. You need to be able to DIY as much of that as possible because some oddball you're not going to have a lot of support elsewhere for. So whether it's computer stuff, the wiring, fabricating, getting a hold of the factory parts, like all that stuff, prepare to be on an island if you're going to get fancy and custom like that because
Yeah.
either either be ready to chew on that and not have the car run for a year plus if it takes you that long. You can do it really quick if you're really expedient with it. But if you're learning while you're going or you're still familiarizing yourself with all the schematics and everything like that, it's going to take you a long time. So,
Yeah.
I mean, don't let me tell you not to do a project, but I will say if you're choosing a project that's that unique, you're gonna have zero information aside from the basic service manual
Yep.
info that you can get a hold of.
Yeah. Like when I did the Navi setup, I mean, I had a couple of people in the Navi group I made, but I was pretty much by myself because I took it to where nobody took it. So I had to like figure stuff out on my own. Uh, talk to a couple of my buddies, that's got big horsepower, and it's like stuff to watch out for, but then try to implement what they went through into what I had to put together and stuff like that. So you gotta have a lot of patience, a lot of resources, and just be mindful of how much money you're about to spend on a project that's never
Yeah.
been done.
And is that the car you really want to tinker with, or is that
Yep.
just the car you got right now? Because like that's the decision I just made. Like, is this Regal actually the car I want to be doing all this crap with, or did I actually want a Grand Prix again? And did I want
Yep.
the exact same Grand Prix that I had all through the 2000s that just rusted out on me? So I bought another one that's basically the
Yep.
same thing, but ready to go full race car with. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, Hole in the Head says he's got a bunch of Gen 5 stuff left over after going turbo. Like, yeah, I mean, you collect the inventory. Once you kind of change your setup, if it's enough parts off to the side now, you now have a whole another build's worth of stuff that you can either start putting into classifieds or marketplace, or you can do like we do and just keep it all.
Yep. Yeah, the wife, she just said she dragged me to Florida during the hottest heat wave. She sure did. Yeah, I probably won't go
Yeah.
back. uh
We,
but
when I first was going down there, it was like November. It was like the perfect weather. And then that was just when we were going on family vacation once or twice when I was a kid. We would go in November. And then
mhm.
when I lived there, obviously from November to probably April is like perfect weather. So October,
Yep.
November. So half the year, a little over half the year, it's actually really nice. It's just once summer starts, you're just surviving until it's over.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I still want to go down there. I want to see what Cletus has going on someday. Check out his track. Maybe go to one of
Yeah,
their events.
I do want to go to the Freedom Factory at least one time, just to get the
Who knows? Maybe we'll try
experience
to
or
do a
whatever.
get together and try to get all our folks to go down for one of their events over the wintertime when we know the weather's nice.
Yeah.
We got to look at their
Yeah.
schedule. Like, my laptop's not booted up yet, but we can look at the schedule, see what time they have. They usually have events in like October, November, February. I know there's
Hmm.
FL2K, which is huge, but everybody probably get lost during that. But it might be fun to go down during that too. Who knows? So we'll
I
have to
would
look it
actually
up
like
and
to.
then
Shit, you
what's that?
never know. I might get HB done. You get the Daytona done, and we might take our cars to FL2K. You never know.
Do some roll
I'd be
race.
sick. Yeah, man, I'd be sick.
Whew. I'd need some gear if I'm gonna try and roll race a 4T65 car. I'm gonna need uh, I'm gonna need to run it on 28s and probably get at least a 293 chain if I can get a hold of one.
I'm gonna get myself dialed with that thing. Just give me time. Just give me
Yeah.
some time.
Oh man, what
But
Cletus would be wondering is if we could get a hold of that freaking Monty SS that he got for
oh
George back in the
yeah,
day.
yeah,
I would have
the
loved
Dell. Yeah.
the Dale car. Yeah, I'd be like, hey, you
Yep.
want that thing? I mean, I know he ended up getting a hold of because George, I guess, commutes like 2 hours or some crazy stuff.
Hmm.
So he's got like a Tesla, so he could probably just like auto drive drinking his coffee in the morning.
They
But
still got that car too. It's in the background.
it's probably rotten now. I mean, it's
Hmm.
Florida, but if it's parked over grass, you don't want to park a car long term on grass because the dew every morning just gets up in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like be like, hey, that thing over there we can make rowdy. You know.
I just came. He got that thing parked in the back of where he got all the Crown Vics
Yeah,
at the Freedom Factory.
they
It's
did a
all just
tour
parked in the grass.
like 2, 3 months ago. I think he did another tour of his property with all the cars. They were joking
Yeah.
around. They were like, "That's a Crown Vic. That's a Crown Vic. That's a Crown Vic." You know.
Yep. That's when I
Um,
seen the money.
yeah, the Monty was sitting over there and looking sad because it was cool when they did the Dale Earnhardt rap on it and stuff. It looked badass.
Man, as soon as they started doing burnouts, well, I'm like, oh, that transmission's done.
Yeah, I'm sure they smoked the trans and that's why it's parked. If I had to guess,
Yep.
so either that or
Yep.
it started overheating or something stupid.
Yep.
Because yeah, LS4 cars need some love before they're more reliable, basically.
Speaking of
Like
LS4 cars, Jeremy, he real close to get his GXP rolling. I think he
Yeah.
got he just finished his he had a power steering leak and he got that addressed and he ended up doing AN fittings on everything and
Yeah.
he's I think he's got his BTR valve covers he got to put on because he bought an alternator relocation kit. So once he gets
Okay.
that done, then everything will be dialed. I'm really excited to see what that car does. I'm really excited. He put a lot
Yeah.
of
I had to hold
and it
back.
was
LS4 cars, like, there's a lot of potential, but you're fighting the drivetrain. Like, I know he's got an 80 swap, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's really the way you got to
It's the,
go. Um,
his car is going to answer a lot of questions because
see how it can do.
he really took his time with that car. He's really patient. He went through the paces and he's doing double checking and checking and everything to making sure everything is cool. And yeah, man. Yeah, you know you're gonna see us, Jeremy. You know it. But
We're gonna have to road trip somewhere. We're gonna have to
yeah,
just pick an event. Everybody plan out their time off work and just get there.
yeah, yeah. But
Um,
yeah, we
I think if we project it far enough out, so people don't have random family birthdays or I'm
yeah,
locked into work or doing something, then we
yeah,
should be good.
we'll figure something out. It'll be pretty cool. And
Um,
yeah, definitely gonna answer a lot of questions once Jeremy get his car done about the 4T80 swap because his build has an extreme a lot of potential. Extreme lot.
yeah.
So
Like I'm probably not gonna go. That's one of the things for my driveway is I still got the GXP. I just drove it to Walmart and back about an hour or two ago. But I think I'm gonna be cleaning it in the car up and selling it to my buddy that works with me because I just need the driveway space. And that car, unfortunately, is one of the ones drawing the short stick of
yeah,
it's basically just I'm not going to be able to do with it what I want to. So even though I got the LS2 intake and throttle body, yeah, the purple GXP, I think I'm just not going to be able to enjoy it. And I bought a turbo kit for it, but I'm not going to go through the headache of installing that. So that's probably going to end up hitting the marketplace again. Sucks because that would be a cool project, but with all the other stuff I got going on, Bad Grandpa, now I got the Daytona, I still got the GTO. Um, oh yeah, that was you in the white in the white Regal. I waved. He did a little rip when he was going around the corner on my way back from Walmart. So that's
oh,
cool, Caleb. So I saw that guy in his car like 10 minutes ago. So I gave him a wave because I saw he had like a ZZP decal on his car or something, and I was like, I just wave from
was
my
it was a
GXP.
was it a red GTP?
Oh, he was in a white GS.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn he had a white
So
or a red GTP.
I don't know. There's one around here as well because there was the guy that was on that Dude in Blues video. I don't know if it's the same guy or a different guy. But if Caleb wants to post up if he knows any of the more local, because I only know a couple of the locals around here. I mean, Omaha's like low key actually got a decent car scene because
Hmm.
that's why 1320 kind of started around. They go down to Texas, but they also, there's some locals with some hot rods around here that, kind of lay low, and then all of a sudden there's like no prep races, and it's like, brah, 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 brah. And they just come out of the woodwork. So
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. Like I've been meaning to try to sneak into some of those events. I'm not even close to competitive, but um, to at least like just get to check them out in person. So that's why I like
yeah,
going to ice cream cruise and stuff like that. But yeah, my GXP, I was super happy when I did the LS2 intake. I did the downpipe and all that. But I think my coworker, I let him borrow it back a couple years ago just to drive it. He had that blue Camaro that I tried working on, but that thing's just too rough condition. He wants something nicer to drive around in, so he's trying to get rid of that right now. And he wants to just drive something nice, and he knows that the GXP is a nice car.
Well,
Tow rig. Uh-oh.
yeah, he picked him up
Yeah.
at he got him an SRT. My boy he been fighting forever to get one. He finally got him one, man. Proud of him. He
Which
worked
kind?
his ass off to get one. He got a Grand Cherokee SRT.
Oh, you got a SRT8. With the early ones that were like the all-wheel drive 6.2,
No, he got
or
the
a
six
different one?
four. He got
The
the
Hellcat one.
Trackhawk body style. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yep.
cool. Yeah, I've just got my F-150. Does good towing a car, towing a trailer. So I'll I'll just I gotta pick up a trailer. I'm gonna try and get an enclosed trailer. It'll help me not just get the cars to and from tracks, because trailers also work as like a backup garage, which is awesome.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
it's like almost an extra stall with a little bit of cramped space. But also, if I gotta move houses, then I can use it to pack up the houses and stuff. So
That's
as
my
long as
plan
I'm
next.
using it, yeah,
That's my plan
you
next
got a
year is to try
flatbed,
to
right?
get it enclosed. I want to get it enclosed next year,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna put a winch inside so my big ass ain't got to try to fight to drive it in there and get out of it.
yeah,
But
it's worth it. Get a remote winch, and
yep,
then you can sit in the car in neutral with your foot on the brake as needed.
yep, yep.
Um,
Got my new
yeah,
tow rig. I'm loving that thing. I don't regret trading that other truck in at all.
yeah. For now, I mean, I'll tow with that EcoBoost. That thing's a champ. It's got 250K on it or
Yep,
so, something like that. That thing, ever since I did the time and chain, catch cans, um, like it's a beast. So it's it's got all the power it needs for a half. I'll probably put a little bit of airbag in the rear suspension just to keep it level when I'm hooked up, and that's about it. Like other than
yep,
that, I'm not trying to pull anything 30 foot plus. You know, just a single car trailer, and if
yep,
it's enclosed, so that I got some tools, I'm good to go.
yep.
But
All
yeah,
right.
going to events. That's the goal, is get out and go enjoy stuff. That's what we want to do.
Yep. All right. Well,
So
we're gonna end the live. I hope everybody enjoyed today's episode of the hell you got going on, and we'll try to keep this a regular every weekend ritual as long as me and Dave ain't got too much going on. But
yeah, yeah,
I'll
this is
share
kind
on.
of a mellow one.
Yeah, some chill. Somebody could just sit there and eat their dinner, some snacks too. This vibe too or whatever. Nothing too extravagant. This is something simple. And I'll share on here that August 11th, as long as weather permits, we'll be taking Hellboy to the dyno. Um, there's no numbers I'm chasing. I'm just going for data. Just seeing what we got going on and seeing what we need to do as far as improving and make it better than what it is. So stay tuned for
Yeah,
that. It'll be a video on that. We'll actually do a breakdown too I'll have a camera focused on the wheels so you can see when the car goes wide open throttle and you'll see that the wheels wants to kick out. So, and why it's
yeah,
important that, which shout out to James, he taught me about this. Giving it some toe in on a higher horsepower car will keep the wheels going straight when they go wide open throttle instead of going like this. This is why you get torque steer. So I'll make sure I had a good camera angle so you guys can see all that. And yeah, just be something just to, vibe to, relax to,
yeah.
look up to.
Yeah, I'm going to be ready to look at the data, basically the scan data
Oh yeah.
and the dyno curve, see where. Because the
Yep.
good thing about the dyno curve, it'll tell you really what should you be doing when you shift, right? And we could start looking at your scan data. If it's, hey, your power is basically peaked for this long of a time,
Yep.
you're getting the same power if you shift at 6,500 or 7,000, because it's dropping back down to what's it dropping down to when it grabs back a hold when you let out the clutch again.
Yep.
And you know, I love to I love to stare at those numbers and those lines all the time. So
Oh yeah.
we'll have
Yeah.
fun looking at that.
We're gonna have fun with that. We're gonna have everything we need to know, and of course, we'll share with you guys. And You know, just it's only up from here. You know, it's the same
Yeah.
thing with Dave. What Dave got going on. You know, once he get everything situated, you know, he'll be able to take his car to the track, get the data he needs to know what improvements he needs to do as far as suspension or whatever to get to his goal he's trying to reach. So it's a fun thing. So we'll get there.
Yeah.
No need to rush. You know,
Yep.
baby steps, but slow and steady wins the race.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes.
Slow and steady until you hit the gas pedal.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Y'all have a good one. We'll catch you guys
All
on the
right.
next one. Take care.
We'll talk to you later.